Welcome back to Now You Know BC, where we're talking all about things that fall from the sky. My guest today is Vancouver's own Chung, a horticulture educator and author. She trained at the UBC Botanical Garden and later worked as the instructor of their training program. Chris runs a business called Fluent Garden, where she helps landscape pros and backyard gardeners focus on installing edible, ornamental landscapes. In layman's terms, she helps people make gardens that look really good, and you can also eat them. Thanks for joining me, Chris.
Thanks for having me.
You got my attention first with this really stinky thing that you did a video about on TikTok.
Yeah.
And you brought it with you.
I did.
Tell us, what is this thing?
So it's sealed up because it does smell. It's very pungent. If you've walked through the streets in Chinatown, in Vancouver, you may have seen ginkgo trees. They're beautiful. They're colorful, bright yellow, but they also drop the stinky seeds. I don't know if you want to open them.
I absolutely want to smell it. Yeah. So they drop the stinky seeds.
Yeah, but I have to caution you, don't touch them. The smell comes from something called butyric acid, which is makes your skin feel funny.
And it stinks?
And it stinks.
Is it going to hurt my sinuses?
I don't know, may clear some sinuses.
Oh, it's actually... I'm going to say this, it sort of smells like food, but it also smells disgusting.
Yeah, so the butyric acid, I think you find that in dairy products.
Okay.
So it's kind of like rotten milk smell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like cheese.
Stinky cheese.
Stinky cheese, rotten cheese.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you found these in Chinatown.
Yeah.
And what do you do with these?
So in Asian cuisines, people put them in desserts, like not the stinky stuff. So you have to go through this process of cleaning the outside of the seed, like the smelly stuff. And once that's cleaned, you can crack the inside, and then I think you boil them, put them in desserts and soups. A prized delicacy.
I had no idea, because what I got out of it is that you
step away from them.
No, you turn them into trees.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
And these are for you. You can grow some trees.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So you propagate these.
I've never tried myself.
You haven't tried yourself?
No.
Okay.
No.
But you can turn this into a ginkgo tree.
You can. But you can't really tell if it's going to be a male or a female, and that's the catch. The trees are called dioecious. There's a male tree, there's a female tree, but cities and homeowners, they choose to grow the male trees because the fruit is oftentimes undesirable because of the smell. But they're beautiful street trees, so that's why you see people grow them in their gardens. They do get large, but I don't know, they're nice.
I like the leaves.
Yes.
A lot.
Yeah.
Chestnuts.
Yeah.
Can we eat the chestnuts that we find on the ground? You brought a chestnut as well.
So I did. So this is what we're talking about. And these are not like the Christmas roast them on a open fire kind of thing. These are called horse chestnuts. So it's kind of a misnomer because they're not true chestnuts. They're in a completely different family. They're used as street trees because they are large and they have beautiful flowers. So sometimes you see big trusses of white flowers. Sometimes they come in red. That's why they're grown. Not for that, because you can't eat them. They're mildly toxic or toxic to people. So don't eat these ones.
Oh, okay.
The ones like the sweet chestnuts that people eat, turn them into, like the purees and desserts, that's a completely different species.
Huh.
Yeah.
What about cannabis? Are people growing cannabis in the gardens that you're making?
Not so much. I think people just, I don't know, if they have some seeds, they'll grow it for fun or just for themselves, and then they harvest it. But I find with Vancouver, it's kind of tricky because sometimes it's a bit too cool to start, it's too wet. They like hotter, drier conditions, to get the nice parts to harvest.
Yeah.
But they are really lovely and very, very lush.
And fragrant.
Yes.
Yeah. Huh. Okay, so you have a book. Tell us about your book.
I do. So it's called The Layered Edible Garden. There we have it, Layered Edible Garden. What I did here was just break down, how to approach gardening, whether you are growing food or just things that are pretty. But I've broken it down in a way where it's kind of like choose your own adventure because, around Vancouver, there are a lot of conifers and, sometimes that casts a lot of shade. What can you do? And people sometimes feel stuck. Like, oh, I can't grow fruit, I can't grow any food because it's too dark, it's too wet. But with this approach, I'm sort of outlining, well, there are tall things, but there are short things. Let's think about these vertical tiers that you can have edible food plants occupy. So it kind of helps build this framework. I'm like, oh, there's an empty spot there. Maybe I can grow gooseberries or currants, which actually don't need a lot of full sun. Like, the goal here was to encourage people to try different plants. Because with the climate kind of shifting and what we're seeing in the garden kind of changing, you get to try different things, and I've got a whole bunch of weird stuff. I love growing the weird things, so there's some neat ideas in here, and it works in Vancouver.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Thanks for joining us. You can find this book where?
You can find it, well, there's Amazon, but there's also a bunch of small bookstores. UBC Botanical Garden, they were one of my first supporters. They got that on the shelves. Indigo also has it. I don't know, if you go on a walk, a lot of small bookstores have them, so.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go to break, and when we come back, roving reporter Nina Savage is going to be on the street talking to people about things that fall from the sky.